Okay, she's talking to me. There we go. All right, so Anita, for some reason your video isn't working. Okay, thank you. You can be on video. You don't have to be on video. That's okay. We want this to be really comfortable. I'm sure some of you are at home eating dinner and hiding away from your family or just recovering from a long day at work. So do whatever you feel comfortable with. That's our goal here is for everyone to be a little bit more comfortable and for these sessions to feel a little bit more informal and intimate. So for anyone who doesn't know, my name's Carissa. I will be your host on this chart room chart chat tonight. It's a tongue twister. We I did say heckle, so here we are. Yeah, chart room chat is a little bit of a tongue twister. So just to give you kind of the background behind that and why we're coming up with this idea right now. Someone asked a question about what are our themes for this year, and one of the themes that we've identified is connection. We want to be more connected with one another in meaningful ways that make sense in the society that we live in now. So the things like getting together for Pro D days, that's hard. It's hard on a Saturday to get everyone. You have to leave your kids, you have to leave your families. It's one more day in work week. That's hard, and we're asking a lot. And the reality is, anytime that we ask people to do things outside of work hours, we know there's a cost to that, and it is a work-life balance, and we want to be respectful of that. We want to honor that. And so what we're going to do this year is we're going to try throwing a whole bunch of new ideas, new creative ideas and thoughts into how we connect together. And some are going to work and some are going to fail terribly, and that's okay. We're wanting to be brave and bold and maybe let go of some of the things that we've done for the last 40 years and try to come up with some new ideas that will take us into the next 40. So that's the idea behind the chart room chat. We did get some amazing questions submitted. Thank you to everyone who sent in questions. Honestly, there's more than we're going to be able to answer tonight because we do want to make sure that we stop right at 7:30 and honor everyone's time, or we'll stop earlier if we get through the questions really fast, which we might, you never know. So I think we will just jump right in to our questions. All right. So yeah, I already touched on the first question. What are Wind and Tide's main priorities for the next year? For me, it really is about connection. It's about how we connect together. It's how we connect with our families. It's how we connect with our children. It's how we connect with our society. It's how we connect with the community around us and how we make sure that we're continuing that connection in a meaningful way so that everyone who works with us, so that everyone who attends our classrooms and everyone who's in our circle of orbit feels like they're part of something bigger. We really want to make sure that everyone has a feeling of belonging and a feeling that they're coming in to something every day that fulfills their heart, that fills their bucket, that actually makes you feel good in how it occupies its role in your life, right? So that is one of the themes that we've looked at. And like I say, we will try a number of different connection opportunities. We welcome your feedback. If you're missing the mark greatly, not hesitate to tell us that. It's important that we know, right? Otherwise, we're just going to keep going and making mistakes. So if it's something we're doing isn't working, please. Next question. Please explain what the new hubs will be about and when and how we will meet. I realize the first one is during kickoff, but will the other meetups be during work hours or on our own time or after school hours? So hubs are an opportunity for us to grow community with smaller teams. That was our goal when we thought up hubs. It's really about respecting that we have a fairly big geographic boundary as a company at this point, and it's hard to get everybody together, everybody. So what we're going to try to do is to break everyone into smaller groups so that there's less commute time, there's more willingness to get together because it's easy to reach each other. We are not at this time thinking of anything after hours. This is meant to complement. This isn't meant to take away from time with your family, with your friends, your hobbies, your time off, your rest. So we're going to come back to you with more on that. We're not sure exactly what it's going to look like yet. It's just an idea that's kind of starting. It's percolating. We've got some hubs made up. We'll be communicating that out in the next week or so. The first event is during kickoff. We're going to celebrate our 40th anniversary and try to have some fun and My goal is that everyone starts to get to know each other a little bit better in their hubs so that we start to feel comfortable reaching out to one another if we have questions or thoughts or anything like that. Oh, there's heckling. Okay.
Positive,
Cheering.
positive
Positive heckling. Okay, there we go. All right. Next question was a teacher was asking me if their attendance at the Chartroom chats counted towards renewal of their ECE. So we will let people know in advance, well in advance, if we're going to cover professional development. That would give you professional development hours. Today is not the case. As sent out in the email, this is just more a familiarizing with the Chartroom chat, being able to ask and answer some questions around the company organization and structure and how things are going. So if you've been to the Pro D days before, you know that normally in the morning we do the professional development, and in the afternoon we start to do the bookkeeping, and we do kind of an administrative update. So this is meant to replace the administrative update part of things. Bookkeeping, yeah, big.
Housekeeping.
Housekeeping. Yeah,
We're all doing math.
It's Lori. There we go. Yeah, sorry. I've been working on a volunteer treasurer report and my mind is going on the wrong thing. Yeah, so basically this is meant to replace that. So it's just an opportunity for there to be questions, but hearing that there might be an appetite for professional development in these meetings, that's important for us to know too, because if there is appetite for that and people are interested in coming into the shorter format, then we absolutely can add that. We would just need guidance on what people are interested in hearing about and make sure we have the right professionals in place to get us that information.
If we have ideas, how can we share them?
You wanted to, okay, sorry.
I'm bantering.
You're bantering. Okay. Okay.
How did I share it?
Well, teacher Becky. If you have an idea, just send an email to me or talk to your TD. And we'll try to gather the information that way. Also, before the next Chartroom chat, we will make sure that we reach out with a survey ahead of time to kind of get an idea of the topics that are relevant and what people want to talk about at that time. So, but don't wait. If you come up with ideas, we don't have to wait and do these every 4 months. If there's something really pressing out there that people are feeling we need to get on together, let's talk about it and get it tabled. Awesome. Okay. Lori Gunderson.
That's me.
Teacher Lori, what do you have for us today?
I have for you. Are there any plans of using an app for direct communication with the parents and also sending them updates and photos? A couple of weeks ago, I sent out a survey to all of the supervisors asking supervisors if they are using an app, which app are they using, how comfortable they're using, what are they, if they're not using an app, how are you communicating with families? So over the summer, we're going to be assessing that, and then hopefully we'll be able to come up with a plan on getting more teachers involved in using apps and what apps will be available for you.
Thank you, Teacher Lori. All right. There's giggles. I'm not sure what the giggles are about, but people are having fun, so that's good. Is it possible to get a digital teacher ID card? We miss out on a number of teacher discounts because we don't have proof of being a teacher. Okay, so if the person who asked this question is in the group, I would love to hear more. If the person is not in the group and anyone else can guide me on what is needed, that would be appreciated, because I want to know, like I walked into Indigo last week, for example, and I saw the big sign up that said teachers appreciation. I think it was 20% off or something like that. That's awesome. We want to make sure that people can access that kind of perk. That's great. I don't know, is it that you require a ID that shows that you're employed with Becky is nodding? I think it's
So I just
okay.
Maybe repeat that.
Okay. Yeah. So
I have something to say with regards to that. I just show my name tag, and I've never had a problem with getting the discount. I've also shown a payroll stub, and I've never had a problem getting a discount. So that's what I have done. I mean, it would be great.
You're at Julie. Is that Julie who's talking? No, talking. Shelley, yeah, we're,
I've done it at Michael's. I've done it at Indigo, pretty much several different places. The dollar and cent store out here. Once you set up an account with them, it automatically will come up there on that account as well. But it would be great if we did have some sort of proper, well, I don't know if you want to call it proper ID, but something a little more official looking because they do ask for something. So that's my experience with it.
Okay.
So into school and pick up the kids.
Yeah.
Right, where you just
Yeah.
have their photo, their name,
Mhm.
and then like a little, yeah, our employee number or like a play with the
Okay.
kind of thing.
Can you guys hear Becky when she was talking there?
No.
Okay, so she was just saying she's on the other side of the computer, so I was a little worried. She was just saying that our school age care teachers had basically badges that they had to wear onto campus to pick up kids, so we could maybe do something like that. So yeah, I'm assuming that's would be helpful for everyone. So if that's helpful, then we'll definitely look into it. But if anyone has more specifics, like if anyone's ever been turned down for a discount, please get hold of me and let me know what hasn't worked because yeah, we'll want to make sure we stay away from something that isn't going to work for people. But yeah, no, absolutely want to help facilitate all the perks that we can get for everyone. So we'll make it for
The
that.
only place that I was turned down was actually Walmart because they said I wasn't a school district employee. So when they had a discount for teachers at Walmart, they would not give it to me. That was the only place. Yeah.
so even,
Okay.
even if it was something that said Wind and Tide, that probably still wouldn't work then because it's not a school district, right?
Yeah, so I think it depends on the company itself, but every other place that gives a teacher discount, I've just shown my little name tag, and most of them have been really good with it. When I had a pay stub, I would show the pay stub, and it's never been an issue other than Walmart. So
Darn it, Walmart. Okay. All right. We will see what we can. The next couple of questions that we had were questions about AI and how AI is impacting Wind and Tide and particularly what we're teaching in classrooms. And it was actually, it's a super interesting conversation, but I think it's a lot bigger than what we can probably do justice to today during this. So a couple of the questions I'm going to table a little bit for later, and we'll bring back to those, not later tonight, but later, different date. And we'll come back to those because it was questions about AI and how that influences art and what children learn. And so there's been some really good conversations that have come out of those questions. So thank you to whomever raised them. One part of that question was, since future skills are moving away from memorization and towards human-centric traits like emotional intelligence, creative problem solving, and adaptability, how can we intentionally highlight these soft skills in our daily routines? That question was interesting to me because it kind of got me reflecting a little bit on the work that we do with children who require support. I think that it's important for us to acknowledge that our children are watching us. They're watching how we're interacting with children with support needs. We are creating new pathways with the introduction of our support team and our TACT program, which is temporary additional classroom support. We are creating additional, yeah, the A is tricky. We're creating new pathways where we're demonstrating empathy in our classrooms. We're including children in ways that is very meaningful and intentional, and our children in our classes are watching that, and they're learning from that. They're learning how to work with their peers with differences. They're learning how to prepare themselves for a lifetime of experiencing people with differences. So I love that question because it kind of allowed me to reflect and go, oh, you know what? We're kind of already there. We're doing it. We can always do more. But it's nice to see that when you can visualize the work that we're doing and the efforts we're making on the support team right now. And with our supported children, you can start to see the fruits of that and how it benefits all children in our classroom, not just those with specific needs. So. All righty, over to Carrie.
Okay, so I have all the questions about finances and wages, and budgets and all that fun stuff. So the first question is, the cost of living has increased so much over this past year. And I would say not even this past year, the past like 5 years. We totally get that. Will there be a cost of living raise for the next school year? So we did talk about this quite a bit at the October Pro D. I think it was it October or February?
February.
Sorry, February, the February Pro D Day. And much of that is still kind of the same. So I think one of the reasons this question comes up right now is because in past years, this was kind of the time that we were able to give a lot more information about what next year would look like. And that was different because in those years, we were able to control what increases we had for families. So we wouldn't do that every year. We would actually do it every second year. And that way, for people who were doing the 3-year-old and the 4-year-old program, they would know exactly what the tuition would be for both programs, and then we would change it. So we had very kind of controlled increases in tuition, and we had really strong registration. So we could predict for the next school year what our income, like our gross income, would look like. So then we could look at what that would look like for the wages. That's a lot different now because we don't have that control. We are capped, as we mentioned in February, capped by the increases that the government allows. And we don't have the registration strength that we used to. So at this time in years, like we're talking like 5-10 years ago, we would always basically have full classes for the next school year. And we haven't had that for quite a long time. And even it can change month to month. So it can be that the classes aren't very strong now, but they might build between now and September, or a class that's really strong right now might tank before September. So it becomes really, really challenging. And I know hard on your side as well, because you want some sort of assurance for what's happening next year. What will I be paid? What classes will I be teaching? What will be available? And I'm going to be totally honest, it sucks that we're not able to provide that at this time of year. And I get that that is really hard. We are looking at every possible avenue. We are assessing what we're expecting for next year and what we can do. So it's not off the table. We are looking at what we can do for those wages for next year. So another question that had come up, someone was mentioning that the wage grid was no longer on the portal. It used to be part of the handbook, but in, I think it was 2024, we took it out of the handbook as it was part of contracts that year. So if you're looking for that wage grid, you can find it in your contract. But if you don't have that anymore, then feel free to contact HR_help at Wind and Tide, and we can get you a copy of that. But one of the reasons why that's not kind of readily available is that we are still assessing what we can do for next year. So there may be changes to come in that. We hope that there's changes to come. And should the case be that we're not able to do kind of a global switch on that scale, we will be doing similar to what we did this year. We're going to look for different avenues that we can give little bumps up, whether that's a stipend mid-year or something at the start of the year. We'll be looking to do something in that avenue. But I feel pretty confident at this point that we'll be able to see some changes for next year. So that's kind of what I can leave you with for now. But like I said, we don't want to do it too prematurely because we want to make sure that whatever we do is sustainable moving forward, especially given the uncertainty. But we totally recognize that it's something that people are needing right now. So another question that had come up was about the purchasing of supplies for this coming year, because that's changed a little bit.
Do you remember anything like that?
No.
Okay. You're off
I had
the-
it on my list. So people were asking whether or not it can just go on the expense form and how to do that. Yes, it can go on the expense form. So essentially, you're going to have that amount can either be used in the summer if you want to purchase things in the summer, or all throughout next year. So if you just want to do it little by little bit next year, totally fine. If you want to do kind of a big purchase over the summer when you have time, or as you lead into September, you can do that as well. Just make sure that when you submit your expenses, so use the same form and just clarify on the expenses that it is for next year. So let's say you want to purchase right now, that's fine. You can even keep it on like let's say your June expenses and have that amount on there. Just say on there it's for next school year. And then we'll put that into next year's fiscal budget. And yeah. Perfect. And I think that was my last question for right now.
If there is, does that mean they have to pay them for kids who leave it next?
That's a good question, teacher Lisa. So she asked, do you have to use the whole amount? No, you can do it all at once if you want, or you can do it little by little anytime you want. So, yeah.
A follow-up question with that, if there is gonna be a change of supervisor for next year, and you know ahead of time, okay, so perfect example is Prospect right now, we have no masking tape. Right, so I'm like, okay, I wanna buy a big amount of it for next year, but there'll be a different supervisor coming in. That'll technically come out of their budget, won't it, right, for next year of their fiscal supply, so will that be updated with supervisors?
Yeah, so the question is, if there's a change in supervisor, how will that roll out? And I think for locations, Prospect might be the only, I don't think there's a lot that have a change. Okay, so for those that have changes, I would say touch base with myself or Monica prior to spending. It depends really on how much it is. If it's just a small amount, we'll figure out a way so that it's communicated between the two supervisors. If it's a large amount, then we probably want to have some sort of communication ahead of time. So yeah, reach out to myself or Monica.
And with the school supplies, I believe we've said this already, but just to reiterate, if anyone is having financial difficulties putting the money up front and buying, let us know. There are ways around that. I love shopping, so I will come be your personal shopper. You just have to ask, okay? So it's, yeah, don't struggle and don't worry, right? If you need a little bit of help, let us help you. So Yvonne has a question. Does the 525 supply money have to be submitted by one supervisor only?
It's a good question. At first I was like, what do you mean one supervisor? But yes, there are locations where there are two supervisors between two different programs. It can be either, as long as you guys communicate ahead of time. So kind of coordinate who's purchasing what. Yeah. So as long as there's communication between the two, that I think is the biggest thing, is that communication piece.
Okay. Yeah, very good question. Okay. Where are we? How else will we receive professional development hours? It doesn't seem the retreat will be enough hours for renewal. So looking at the heart of the matter from previous years, it looks like you get 6.5 hours for attending the Saturday. Of course, you need 40 hours over 5 years. Thank you. And so, yeah, that's not enough. So basically, you'll need to make up another 1.5 hours each year, or at some point, you'd have to make the first aid. So,
first aid.
That's right. There
Good
is
point,
first
Jolene.
aid. So first aid will absolutely count towards that. The other thing, like I say, we may end up using some of this chart room chat time for professional development if there's an appetite for that. Again, your feedback is really important, and that of your colleagues who weren't able to join us tonight. So let us know what you're thinking about that. Also, we're just really looking at how we can be more intentional with training. So some classrooms will need specific training that other classrooms don't need, and professional development that speaks to them but doesn't speak to another classroom. That was one of the ways that we wanted to shift our Pro D days, because we kind of have to blanket, we have to blanket everyone with one topic, right? But that doesn't necessarily meet the needs of our classrooms appropriately. So where possible, we can step in and provide training and professional development hours specifically for classrooms around specific topics. And we can figure out how to work that. The other thing that I really want to encourage you all is there's a plethora of free online classes right now. If you look at ECE Network on Facebook, there's usually links to that. The best one that I could find is the BC Early Years Hub.ca/available courses. That has a lot of free work at your own pace courses on a variety of topics that you might find really interesting. And so I think that's important too, to empower all of you to seek out the knowledge that you think is going to actually be interesting and helpful to you, right? Because there's nothing worse, I know this myself, sitting through professional development and it's not something that you actually feel that you need or that's going to be beneficial to you. So it's hard to make that time. Whereas if it's something that lights you up inside and actually has an immediate impact on how you approach your classroom, then that's a lot more exciting and fulfilling to take part in. Back to Teacher Carrie.
Okay, so another question of, is there support available for educators pursuing additional certifications or education? Yes, there is. In fact, they just released the new batch of, I I don't think they call them they don't call them bursaries anymore. They have a different name for it on ECEBC.
Specialized grants, I think. Something
Is it
like that.
grants or something about education?
Yeah.
But it works for not just ECE, but you can do anything, any classes towards your specialization, whether that's the special needs or the infant toddler. So if you're thinking of doing that, the summer programs just opened up on ECEBC, and they have actually some webinars coming up within the next week. So look at ecebc.ca for more information about those. I know the portal is not the easiest thing to navigate, and that's probably part of why they have a webinar about how to do it. But they're the best resource. Everyone's laughing. Yeah, apparently it's not easy. But that is kind of the best resource that's out there right now. And then they release more, I think, every term. So summer, fall, and spring, they release new ones. So taking a look at that website for more resources on that. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. And you guys jump in if you have questions, right? We're just kind of buzzing through this, but if you have questions or want any more information, feel free to jump in. Okay. The next question was, how are staff perspectives considered when program or policy changes are being made? So I missed the policy part, so we'll come back to that later. But when I read this, I was thinking programs. So programs, the reality is we change programs to save classrooms. That's really the nuts and bolts answer there. So, you know, I know that it can feel very top down in that decision making, because we don't come and say, okay, we're thinking about doing this. What do you think? Honestly, when we get to the point of changing a program, where number one priority is saving the classroom and therefore saving jobs. We don't do that unless it's something that we feel we need to do because the numbers in the program have no longer, they're not sustainable, and we're going to have to close the program unless we make a change. So there is, you're right, there is not a lot of consultation in that. We do talk to TDs, and we talk to registration, and we try to come up with, and of course facilities, teacher Lori over here, we do. Sorry. She is awake, I promise. My goodness.
We had a long day. You guys have too.
Yeah. It, like I say, I apologize. It probably does feel top heavy, and I understand that, and I respect that, and that's not our intention. That's not our goal. If we were in a different situation when it came to program changes, this would be full consultation and everyone would be talking about it. But please understand, when we do get to the point where we have to change a program and you get that notification kind of suddenly, know that that's us operating honestly in the background to make sure you have a job. That really is what it comes down to. We want to make sure that we're protecting our classrooms and therefore protecting all of our teachers and our staff in our classrooms. So that is program change. Policy change.
I can speak to that. Do you want me to speak to
Please
that?
do. There you go.
So for policy changes, I think actually the majority of policy changes have come directly from the classrooms. So usually from a situation that happens in a classroom where things go awry, sadly, that we don't plan for. So then a policy comes out, and we went through a time when I think our policies were expanding like larger and larger and larger and larger. Like we would have a policy for almost everything. And we did come to a point really where there were so many policies, nobody knew what the policies were because there were just too many. We say, you know, every year read your policies. Well, no one's going to read them when there's this thick. Yeah, when they're that thick. So we actually ended up paring down and having like the policy section for licensing, like what is required for licensing is one kind of section of the policies. And then we have another that is more procedures and guides. It includes some policies too, but they're not policies required by licensing. So they're more things that we put into place just to have something to reference if something's going wrong in a classroom or with a family. Those are there as well, but we try to be careful not to have too many. And sometimes there's people will need something written for a class, and we'll do a one-off just for the class so they have something to reference. But I would say 95% of the time, actually no, let's say 90% of the time policies come from in class. Maybe about 5% of the time, maybe a little bit more than that, they come from licensing officers themselves saying, you know, this is a situation that's arisen and you need to have a policy about it, or it's a requirement. And then the final percentage, whatever, now I've lost track. It's been a long day, whatever we're left with. Over 100. Actually, now I can't even really think, like, there are occasional things that we're just realizing from conversations with families that things need to be clearer. So there are some things that come out just to enhance clarity with families. But I would say if there's something happening in your classroom or something you're experiencing and you're feeling like, I don't understand what the steps are here, or it could be that we have a policy that just isn't readily available. You don't know where to find it. So speak up so that we can point you in that direction, or we can help you with the resources that you need. So you can talk to your TD, you can talk to Amanda, you can just email the office at admin at Wind and Tide. We'll find the right person to point you to make sure that you have those resources.
She's our numbers person, but that was interesting numbers.
I know. I can do math, honest. I do better at 6 a.m.
I know you do. Yeah, you get here very early. All right, next question. Who can I talk to about classroom concerns if I don't ever see my TD? So your first point of contact is always your TD. Knowing who our TDs are, I really encourage you to say, hey, I need more attention, because I can guarantee the TDs don't realize that you're feeling that way. So please feel free to talk to them. If that for some reason doesn't work for you, and I understand that there are times where we feel uncomfortable speaking to certain people, because let's be honest, sometimes you have a concern with that individual. What I'd encourage you to do is to reach out to a director that you do feel comfortable with in the company. I thought long and hard about this question, because I thought, well, I want to say, come to me, but the reality is you might not feel comfortable with me. You're always welcome to come talk to me, but I might not be the person that you're most comfortable with. And when you're addressing concerns or challenges that you feel at all insecure about, I really want you to go to the person that you feel most secure with, so that you feel safe in raising whatever type of concern that you want to bring forward, and have that person help you walk through whatever the journey is to resolution for any issues. Just basically, I guess my counsel is try the direct conversation first, because I know all of our people are wonderful people that want to try to help, but not being naive to that. Sometimes there are interpersonal conflicts, and if that's the case and you need some help walking through that, then reach out to the director that you feel most comfortable with. Okay. I'm always around too, as well, for a listening ear if you need it. So please don't hesitate to ask. Okie dokie. We are back to Teacher Lori, who has woken up for this portion of the night.
Retribution is fun. He's really mean.
I'm
I
kidding.
can carry about falling asleep and not putting a word.
Going for goodness.
Yeah.
Falling asleep.
She just couldn't add numbers. It's
Okay.
I can't touch the floor. We're okay.
I know you
I
can't,
know.
but I don't tease you about it. Okay, so the question is, what feedback has management heard from families recently, and how can educators help address it? We don't get much feedback, but we have had feedback, a little bit of feedback recently, that our classrooms are looking old and or messy, or one in specifically, I've been told that the toys were old. So yeah. So we've been digging into we'll be digging into some of our classrooms over the summer to try to spruce things up. Obviously we can't do all of the classrooms all at once this summer, but we will be targeting a couple of classrooms and going in and doing a deep clean of them. This might involve getting rid of duplicate toys. This might involve getting rid of broken toys. Just an assessment of what needs to be done. If your classroom is one of these classrooms that are going to be targeted, then we'll let you know in advance. And at that point, we'll ask teachers to take home their personal items. So, because we don't want to throw things out that don't belong to Wind and Tide. And yeah, so basically that's what we're going to be doing. Yeah.
All right. And now we're going to tune into Amanda, who joins us from in front of the beautiful wall that we've all grown to love.
Oh, yes.
All right. So Amanda, this year is our first year as combined junior kindergarten. How would Fun Family Phonics look like, knowing our threes have already heard the stories from the curriculum book?
Yeah, so I mean, ideally, childcare teachers who have been doing this for several years already could speak to this probably better than I could. But I don't think the 3-year-olds will, the stories are so short, I don't think they're going to remember them much. So you could just retell it again. Or this is your opportunity to really get creative, right? You can, instead of reading the story, just tell it, use props. You know, you're teaching the letter B, bring a big garbage bag, fill it with something and act it out, right? You're still getting the same point across. It's just, it's a more fun way of doing it. And then the threes won't even associate it with what they learned last year. I think it's gonna be up to you to kind of decide what your kids need. Some of them, like a just keep on going and they won't even remember from last year. And others, maybe they're super into phonics and they totally remember. And that's where you got to get a little bit more creative or chat with your team director or other programs who have already done it. So
Can I share?
makes sense.
I'm going to share a perspective because when I saw this question come up, my oldest daughter actually did the entire 3-year-old program 2 years in a row, the exact same program. So I asked her, I said, you know, can you think back to when you did preschool? And she could not remember very much, but she did remember knowing that she was hearing the stories again to a certain extent. I think, but she even said she didn't remember the topics. She just remembered the things. Like she remembered Mad Math Hat. And so she knew she had Mad Math Hat twice. Did she know that she learned addition twice? No, she had no clue. She said she remembered still really loving and engaging. Like she loved the lessons. And she said she almost loved them more because she kind of knew what was going to happen, but it was always a little bit different. And she felt very confident. Like her first year of 3-year-old preschool, I think she was nervous and she was quiet, and it really built her confidence. So I think it can really open up the door to like tell you, if you want to tell the same story the exact same way, you can, but see if you can like bring some of those kids in and along with the story, like ask them and have them kind of like tap into that resource of like, you guys know this, you remember hearing about this part. And yeah, I think she remembers fondly doing it twice. So I don't think it's something that you have to worry. You might have the occasional child that's like, oh, they look bored. But in those cases, you might be able to rely on some kind of extra worksheets that maybe we can have available, things like that, that are just slightly different. But for the majority, I think hearing it twice is great. Yeah.
Yeah, I see lots of our teachers in the room with us nodding heads. And does anyone want to share anything in particular? Or 1 second, let me.
I think especially from a childcare teacher's perspective, and sorry, a lot of our teachers in here were childcare teachers as well, and we can speak into teaching the 3-year-old program to students twice, and those children that took it again, like Carrie said, the confidence in them was so lovely, and they were able to be a part of the teaching side of things. So it was very successful in childcare. And I think you might be surprised with how much the children love doing it again a second time.
Alrighty. Where are we? Everyone's favorite topic. What's it say? Back to teacher Lori.
Okay, so I just wanted to remind everybody about workplace safety. If you were injured at work, please contact me. If you are injured at work and you have to seek medical attention, I especially need to know this because WorkSafe requires us to fill out forms, and there's a lot of details that I need to get. And there's nothing worse than getting a form from WorkSafe saying, oh, this teacher has been injured and you haven't submitted the required form and you have 24 hours to do so, and it just makes us look bad. So just
and we want to know because we
And
want to
we
make sure
know.
you're okay.
good thing to know.
Yeah.
Also
Kind of important.
just a minor point. Also, please take a moment also when you're working to just think about safety when you're starting a task, whether you're lifting something, and to do it properly with your knees, not your back, not bending over. If you're kneeling a lot, to take breaks and if you're sitting on those little chairs, especially, which brings me to another topic. If you have only little chairs in your classroom that the children sit on, if you need a bigger chair, or even if you don't, I'd like to provide you with a bigger chair. So please contact me and we'll make sure that each
Classroom.
center classroom has an adult-sized chair.
If you need a demonstration on how to lift things, Lori, would you your class?
Yes, and if you need a demonstration on how to lift something, I will be happy to come and give a demonstration.
And I'll demonstrate how not to do it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll demonstrate how not to use a ladder.
Oh, yeah, let's not talk about that. I don't use a ladder now. I use a hockey stick. Let's be honest. You can knock things down from the side.
Can I do my next one too?
Oh, you can. I'm sorry.
Are we done?
Totally missed. Yeah, over to you.
Okay. So at one of the Pro D days, I think it was February, we talked about licensing contraventions because I get all of the licensing reports. And a lot of the centers have done really well this year, and a lot of them have gotten clean licensing reports where there were no contraventions. So we are going to have if your center had a clean report this year with no contraventions, their name has been entered into a draw. If you've had 3 years of clean reports, you've got 3 entries into this. If you've had 2 years, 2 things. And so we are going to draw this, and the center that is drawn will be given a pizza party by the end of the year. Teresa, I have
Gotta hold it up high so I can't. Not that high. Okay.
the admin office. No, childcare.
Yeah.
So I will congratulations, and I will be contacting you to find out when the best day is to provide you guys with pizza.
Okie dokie. So since we did that prize, how about we do a couple door prizes? So now the question is, did anyone write down all the names of everyone that was attending? Amanda,
Anyone too?
Amanda did. Amanda's saving us. Okay. All right. Amanda, do they have numbers next to them? Maybe like 1 to however many, 25?
I'm going to do that really quickly. There's just one person that's called user's phone, and I don't know who that one is. If that's you, can you add it in the notes or something while I quickly number these?
And do you have our admins or we have Lisa, Becky? Okay, good. You're all hooked up. So then we'll get. All right.
I put your names and then your middle names and then your alter ego names and. Yeah.
Alicia
I don't think
wasn't
anyone can
sleeping.
hear this.
Oh, you guys missed. There's
You
things
guys
flying
were
around
crazy
the office. Oh my goodness. Okay, so the first prize, I'm just going to show you what we're hoping to do while Amanda is numbering. So we have some Kit Kats for your center, for your teachers to have a little break, and some Smarties because you're all Smarties. So, okay. Right. And Amanda, are you ready for us to start yelling out numbers?
Good to go.
Good to go. Okay. All right. Lori Shafrick, what number? Between 1 and, what is it? 1 and, let me get that information first. 1 and 29? 1 and
31.
1 and 31. 15. Who is number 15?
15 is Yvonne.
Whoa.
Okay, Yvonne, we will make sure we get some treats delivered to you. Okay. All right. Next up.
That was my guess.
Yeah. Next up. Starbucks for your team. Okay. Be everyone's hero in your classroom. All right. So drum roll, and we're gonna go Jolie. What number? Number 8.
Number 8, Michelle. Michelle Arnold.
All right.
Michelle who?
Michelle Arnold? I think that's the only Michelle we
I'm
got.
sure. Yeah, it's just Michelle Arnold.
You.
All right. Okay, and last but not least, we have the coveted help with your groceries, $125 gift card. So are we ready? Are we ready? Are we ready? Ms. Gunderson, what's the number?
See, strategically, if I go with 30, oh,
She randomized them. She didn't put them in order.
13.
Oh, 13.
13 is Julie.
Way to go, Julie. Awesome. Yay. Okay, we'll make sure we get all of this delivered out in the next week or so here to everyone. Are there any questions? Otherwise, we can give you 14 minutes back of time. Okay, well, you know where to find us.
Chris, if we get to know her better.
Those are fun.
Does your staff team feel like they all know you well enough, Krista?
Did you guys hear that question?
Chris, if you could only eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would that meal be?
Did they hear the question?
Yeah, did you guys hear that? She wants to know if I could eat one meal for the rest of my life, what would that be? It would be pierogies.
Oh.
Yeah.
What are they filled with?
Just potato and cheese. Just simple, simple, simple. A close second would probably be Susan's focaccia bread.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, before we ask Chris any more weird questions, how about we just let everyone go for the night? Thank you guys for joining us. If you have feedback on things that we could do differently or things you'd like to see, if there's something we didn't get to, if you have questions about answers that we tried to give, you know where to find us. But thank you. It's really nice to see all of your names here tonight. When we try something new, you never know exactly how people are going to respond. So the fact that we had 31 people makes me delightedly happy. So thank you guys. Have a great evening.
Bye.
Bye.